Thank you. Let me know if you have trouble hearing me. Just raise your hand. Since ducking down, I'm short enough. It is here. And again, yeah, thank you for the Almanac, providing this literary opportunity. I think it's really something special. Appreciate it. Also, I have a neat little concept drawing related to my story. It's a sketch by Andy Singer, who's a local cartoonist. There's editorial cartoons across the country also.
What page is that?
That is actually page 278 in the Almanac. And it's kind of it's a sketch for a sketchy character. So my story is entitled Smiler, and this is a coming-of-age story here in St. Paul. Hey, kid, he coughed out at me from a mint green armchair. I'll take it neat. As he spoke, a rare shaft of late afternoon sun bounced at an odd angle through the dimly lit garden apartment and caught my great-uncle across the face. The mix of dusty light and smoke rising off his Chesterfield cigarette formed a sepia haze around his head. For an instant, his pallid complexion regained some youthful color, reminiscent of the once handsome Marine War hero. Ludwig was his real name, but he went by Smiler. The Smiler earned his name based on congeniality. It was a long vanquished attribute. Neat, I asked. Christ, kid, what are you, 16? You ain't got a clue. I've been on 3 continents by the time I was your age. It means no ice. I got no time for watered-down drinks. Smiler's self-observation was spot on. At 70, he was a broken-down alcoholic with terminal emphysema. Smiler had recently drifted back to St. Paul after a 20-year absence. And he had proclaimed on his sister's doorstep, "This is the end of the line." Grandma greeted the prodigal with a straight back and gnarled fist dug into her hips. So aren't we the fortunate ones to receive your pickled bag of bones? She said, blocking the threshold. Smiler landed at the Gilbride Apartments, a rundown red brick 3-story building on Snelling Avenue. Facing the noisy street, with security bars on its windows, the place met Smiler's most significant needs. It was cheap, furnished, and near a liquor store. He was a cranky cuss, but the demeanor of this tall, gaunt man with a full shock of white hair was secondary to me. I needed a refuge from a mother on amphetamines and 5 younger siblings. Home was a tinderbox, and everyone in it a matchstick. The only entrance requirement to the Smiler's place was my willingness to be on call, fake ID in hand, to shag him his Heaven Hill whiskey and unfiltered cigarettes. And Smiler liked drinking companions, even when they were a bunch of delinquents. On weekends, Smiler's place became party central. At times, we packed up to 50 kids in that 1-bedroom apartment, spilling out into the hallway and onto the sidewalk. There were only 2 rules. Stay out of Gunnery Sergeant Smiler's chair and don't drink his booze. Many a night, he would be slumped deep in his chair, sound asleep, while the party raged around him. Other nights, booze energized him to hold court and take us on fragmented journeys. The Germans gassed us at Salmonet, hit us with Big Bertha in Lyon, but we held them at Verdun and along the Hindenburg and took them out at Belleau Wood. He'd wave his cigarette attached to his blue-veined hand, spreading smoke through the scene, enhancing his recollection. Christ! Just boys getting hammered, and for what? So some Jody son of a bitch can steal your girl. Wilson and the Kaiser sipping champagne over 5 million smoldering bodies. And I get to carry this goddamn hacking cough for the rest of my life. Raising his arm, he'd move it forward sharply in a mock salute. He'd lean back in his chair, eyes watery, and hike his glass to signal a refill. Continue. Kid, your grandma and I once swam across the river in October. Took a bonfire to thaw us out. As a thread of loneliness invariably wove its way through its accounts, he would abruptly climb up, pinch a cigarette, and stare steely-eyed into his unfinished story. Thankfully, it was the landlord who found him that Friday, heart attack or something. The funeral at St. Luke's was small, just immediate family, and five of my friends who had hung out at Smiler's, whom I pressed to be pallbearers. As the incense burner swung over the casket, I removed a small military pin from my pocket. A spread-winged eagle perched on a globe, its eyes angry, and its beak ready to strike, its talons gripping the hemisphere. Smiler had unceremoniously given it to me a few weeks earlier. Removing a thick rubber band from a Don Diego cigar box, he walked his long tobacco-stained fingers through the contents, pushing past old coins, VFW poppy, a Stevenson for President button, and yellowed letters. Toward the bottom of the clutter, he chased a military pin into a corner, plucked it out, held it up like a prospector examining a gold nugget. Here, kid, this is for you, he said, holding a memento between his fingers. It's taking me down this twisted road as far as it's gonna. I come further than a lot of them boys. Some folks say further than I should have. Seeing my face twist into a question, he sunk back into his chair and busied himself with the box. My grandmother's muffled cry primed my tears, and I realized the pin meant more than gratitude for blues running. It had signaled a passage for me as it had for Smiler, albeit a kinder one. He was my age when he joined the Marines, only to have his boyhood innocence stamped out and his manhood sculpted by war. The service ended with a scratchy tape playing Amazing Grace, and as we proceeded to the back of the church, walking alongside the casket, I threw off my teenage slouch, stood straight, and moved smartly. My friends, picking up on my new sense of purpose, fell in step behind me. Semper Fi, Smiler.